what impact does this bring? Because your party is actually one of those that the Speaker used in deciding that Kenya Kwanza was the majority party.
Yeah, of course, this has an opinion, serious implications, legally. Remember when I was here to discuss this when this was happening, I told you that some of these are basically political questions. As to whether it's a majority or minority in Parliament, for me, it's a political question, not a legal question. And I've read the judgment twice now, fully, to understand the import of the same. And I can tell you for sure that the arguments there, for me, are quite shallow. Yeah, I disagree with the judges completely. Yeah, there's, if you read it and read it again, I would have expected something more from our judges in terms of setting what I would call the basic principles on how this should be dealt with in the future. But look, so 2022, we're in Parliament, there's jostling for power and all that. Some of us are from elections. And for example, our party, MDG, was in Azimio. But when the campaigns were happening, other Azimio principals came to campaign against us in those elections. And so after you win the election, how do you then go back and be a part of a party that was campaigning against? I mean, there were so many issues that happened around that time, in my opinion. But onto what the judges talk about, because that is actually the main issue. They don't expound more than that. They just say that because the register had given a letter saying that the following parties, as in Azimio, didn't take into account the facts of the day. That, for example, the party called PAA had left Azimio before elections. MCCP had left before elections. So many parties had left before elections. Okay, just after signing, and then they left before the elections happened. These are facts that I believe that a court, well-guided, would have considered in reaching this decision. And so I believe that much as...
How do you leave a coalition?
By doing a notice as required by law, by going to the relevant organs of the coalition required. But the question that you asked is a very instrumental one. By the time we went to the elections, Azimio had no structures. By the time we left elections, it had not set up those structures. That, for example, when MDG was applying to get out of Azimio, there was no even an email address to send a letter to. You went to the offices, some in Lavington, they were closed. You couldn't serve anybody because there were no structures. There were no offices. There was every reason and every effort taken to ensure that nobody is able to reach the Azimio principles, as it were. There are members of Azimio party, and I think these are in the court records, as it were, that you are being told, if you ask where do we go, you're told go to UNET. If there was no office, there's no way you'll be told, now go to this institution, go to this office and serve your letter. And so there were so many frustrations around that time, some even emotional, that go with elections.
So looking back, what decision should Speaker Wetangula have arrived at?
I believe the decision he arrived at was the right decision. Because the parties that are mentioned, the 14 parties that are mentioned, Sam, did not walk into Kenya Kwanza at night and declare that, and say that now we have... No, these are parties that declared publicly that we've left Azimio and joined Kenya Kwanza. Okay. The party I belong to, for example, signed a post-election agreement with Kenya Kwanza. And these documents were tabled on the floor of the House.